and welcome. I am Ben the Best 5 and you are watching the last episode of my ISS build series, which is pretty exciting. In the space of 7 episodes, I have in fact launched all the little individual components of the ISS, sent them up to orbit, and then, brought them back. I mean, not brought them back yet, but however, I will bring one of them back in this episode. I'm gonna bring my Soyuz, which I docked up there earlier, back from the station, because I did, give it all of the Soyuz landing stuff, which the real Soyuz has. So, yeah, I'm gonna be landing at the end of this episode with a crew member inside. But anyway, on to the actual launch, which is going on right now. This is in fact the last one that I'm launching with my soft replica of the Atlas, because it was in fact the last module launched by the Space Shuttle program. Now this module here is in fact the Leonardo, and it was in fact launched to the ISS several different times, and it was returned back to the ground on space shuttles. It basically functioned the way that a resupply vehicle would work, in that the ISS would come up filled with supplies in the Leonardo would dock to the ISS, and then fill up with rubbish, and then fly back to Earth, and yeah. However, on the final ISS mission to resupply the ISS, they in fact left the Leonardo attached to the station so that it could function as a storage module aboard the ISS. Now, as for the actual docking of it here in Kerbal Space Program, you might notice that I don't have enough physical space to dock the entire module, and that was a bit of an oversight on my behalf. However, don't worry, it works out all fine, because there are magnets on the clamps, so I in fact eject it. It swings around a few times, but it gets sucked in nice and easily and attaches, and yeah. Now this module here, which I'm launching, is the beam. It's actually really cool. In fact, it wasn't actually launched as it's being launched here, because as you can see me launching it here, I'm launching it on top of a rocket in just its final form. However, the actual way it was in fact launched inside of a different module. It was in fact launched aboard a SpaceX Dragon 1 launch, and I'm in fact using a different launch vehicle just to signify it was launched on a different vehicle to all the rest. So, and also so it came up inside the Dragon 1 uncrewed Dragon vehicle, and they attached it to the outside of the ISS at docking court, and then they inflated it, because it actually came deflated at like a small fraction, like a quarter of the size it actually turned out to be when inflated. So that's how that worked. It came up inside of back in 2016, so it's actually a very, very recent addition to the station. Yes, and also the Leonardo, where you saw it positioned, just on a side note, and because of the beam it was repositioned. So in a moment you'll see it popping up on the screen, and now, there we go. So you can see how the module see how the beam and the Leonardo are both docked to the same module. Well, the module that module was docked onto has a docking port facing away from the Russian solar panels, so the side that wouldn't get sun. It was in fact originally intended to be docked there permanently. However, because of the beam and its installation, they decided that would in fact be a more effective use of the Leonardo if it was in fact docked to the other side of the Tranquility there, which was originally just meant to have the cupola docked to it and nothing else. Now, I did mention in a few videos a little while ago that I was planning on updating my ISS model on Kerbal Space Program. so that it accurately replicated the real ISS. Now to do that, I would have to dock 2 Progress crafts as well as a Soyuz to the ISS, and well, my frames per second was so incredibly bad. As you could see with docking that module, I was actually getting glitches where the dot on the end of the fairing would actually like display twice and stuff. It was really whack and it was really slow. So because of that, because my computer couldn't handle it, I just had to decide I would stop it here and not do that. Here you can just see me moving around the crew, so that we only have the single pilot required to go into Earth on the Soyuz. Now here you can see, not an end screen, just simply a nice view for everyone to look at of my completed ISS, just because it looks really, really nice. Now, this also gives me a unique opportunity to quickly promote some of my own material, because yes, I in fact did create a little sub-version, add-on, extended version of this video, where basically I took some unedited footage of me docking the beam to the ISS, so you can understand the true frames per second I'm working with here, and why I had to stop early with my series. So yes, I'm bringing the Soyuz, which is docked to it, back home, because, well, it does have I did in fact include all the correct staging, including like 4 retro rockets along the corner and stuff, because I figured that'd be really cool and I wanted to include that. Well, 4 retro rockets to land. So basically how Soyuz lands, right, as you can see, it's got 2 modules there. One of those is the orbital module, and the other one is in fact the landing module, and I'll talk about this while you can. Basically, I just got some nice footage here of the ISS drifting past the Soyuz drifting past the ISS, and I'm going to talk you through how landing worked. So basically, in a Soyuz, there's the 2 modules as I mentioned, and the upper one, the one that docks the ISS, which is also known as the orbital module, it breaks away, and then it faces retrograde, burns, separates from the lower service module, which contains the solar panels and the engine and the fuel, and then the command module itself makes the descent towards the ground, deploys a parachute, and then about 2 meters from the ground, it actually deploys some retro rockets so it can land on the ground nice and smoothly. So here we are actually going for the landing I just mentioned. So I tried to land on the continent, on the other side of the ocean that the KSC is on, just because that was in a nice spot that looked like some nice flat ground, ideal for landing Soyuz on. Now, this descent does actually have, it has 3 things go wrong. However, it's not, a total disaster. So the thing that goes first wrong is, so when I tested it, the solar panels attached with the rest of the service module. However, they decided to just not do that because it's been docked to a glitchy ISS, which has made parts just move and offset themselves and rotate and stuff, and for no reason. So I guess that just must have happened, which is great, wonderful, appreciate it, Second thing that happened is because of that, we are actually a lot more air resistant than I thought we would be, meaning we actually dropped out into the ocean off the place we were targeting. And then the third thing that went wrong is, well, I fired the retro rockets at like 10 meters above the surface instead of like 2, just because, well, yeah, you can see it not separating nicely, which is always fun. But yes, yes, I was a bit concerned about, just basically the retro rockets. I did program them to, not program, create them so that they could only burn for like half of a second, which is what the real Soyuz landing rockets did. and because of that, that is in fact how this one operates, like they do in real life. And there goes the parachute, a single parachute, a large Mark 16 parachute, just casually clipped in like that, nice and beautifully. Anyway, we now are getting to the end of the video, so I'll let it splash down. Firing those retros way too early, but oh well. And hey, the solar arms snapped off, which was a nice touch. So now it's in its mostly correct state. You also might have noticed there that towards the end, I detached the heat shield. That's also accurate to how Soyuz is actually landed. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please do subscribe. It's been a wonderful series, as I've said. I've enjoyed this, and yes, I do have plans for more future content, which you will find out about next week. Other than that, please leave a comment if you want to talk to me. I have a Discord server in the description, so if you're into that, please join it. It's a great way to get in contact with me. Please subscribe to see more of my content and to support me as a creator. Other than that, I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week, hopefully for another video.